Hey everyone, today I'm going through my top 30 beginner shortcuts for Pro Tools. These shortcuts will help to speed up your workflow and they'll save you time during your recording and mixing sessions. I personally use all of these shortcuts on a daily basis and I love how they speed up my workflow and help me get to my end result faster. To coincide with this video, I've put together a free PDF that you can download from the link shown at the bottom of the screen here. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to download by clicking the link in the description box below. Now, this PDF includes 80 of my most commonly used Pro Tools shortcuts. We're just going into 30 of the beginner shortcuts today, but if you want to download the full list of 80 shortcuts, feel free to grab the PDF file, print it out, maybe have it on your desk near where you work, and you can refer to them while you're learning new shortcuts. All right, a quick note before getting into today's video is that I'm working on a Mac computer here today. If you're working on a PC computer at home, that's no worries at all. All you need to do is swap out the Option key on Mac for the Alt key on PC, and then also swap out the Command button on Mac for the Windows button on your PC, and you'll be good to go. All right, so let's jump in. Our first shortcut is our trusty Shift Command N, which is create a new track in Pro Tools. Once we open up this dialog box, we have a few choices, including how many of a certain track we'd like to make, what track format we'd like it to be, either mono or stereo, if we want it to be an audio track, aux track, etc. And then if we want to be in samples or ticks, we can also name the audio track. Instead of using the drop-down boxes with the mouse, we can quickly jump across to the different drop-downs using Command left and right to change from mono to stereo, and Command up and down to change from audio to aux to master, and so on. For now, I'm going to set up 4 mono audio tracks, and we can go Command N now and set up a new line of tracks that we'd like to create. Maybe I'd like a new stereo audio track. Command N, and I'll make some stereo aux tracks as well. We can also, while we're here, Command N, make a new master fader. And we hit enter on the numpad and it will load up our tracks for us. Now we can have a little look here. We've got some good looking tracks ready to go. Moving right along, we have probably the second most important, maybe the most important shortcut to use in Pro Tools, which, if anyone could guess what I'm about to say, it is Command S for save. So in our file drop-down menu, we have a few different options. We have Command S grayed out here as I've just pressed Command S on the keyboard to save. If I click around a little bit, we can see we have the option to save again, but instead of using the drop-down, you want to quickly save your session, Command S is the way to go. We also have the Save As shortcut, which is Control Command S. That will open up the dialog box so that we can change our session to be a different session. There we go. Now, another one that is super handy is Command O to open another session. So we want to open up our previous session here. We'll just go into our previous shortcuts video session. Some of our other important operational shortcuts relate to importing session data and audio for our session. So we can go Shift Command I. We'll open up our import audio dialog. If I wanted to copy some audio across into this session, we can select it, press copy, select done, choose where we want to put that audio and put it on a new track. There we go. Now we can also import session data. So if I wanted to import the settings and tracks from a different session, bring them into this session, I can go Shift Option I and import session data. Then we can select this session we would like to import session data from. We'll go this Vox record session I've done a little while ago. Then we can select a few of our tracks. Maybe we just want it to be our effects tracks down the bottom. We can choose some different data to import. For now, I'm just going to leave all these ticked. I'll go into a bit more detail about what each of these mean in another video. But for now, we'll leave those all ticked, ensure it is set to copy from source media, and we'll go OK to import those tracks. A few more operational shortcuts in Pro Tools include Command N, which will create a new session. We can do the name, sample rate, bit depth, and location, and so on. We can also close Pro Tools or close just the session that we're working on at the moment. So to close our session we're working on at the moment, we can go Shift Command W. We can press save on this guy and it will close that Pro Tools session. As you notice at the top, Pro Tools is still open. We have the bar up the top of different Pro Tools options. We can go open, recent, and jump back into our session this way. Then we also can close Pro Tools super easy with Command Q. We can save it again if we like, or don't save if you like. I'm just going to hit cancel so that we don't close Pro Tools and I can keep showing you some awesome shortcuts. Moving on to a few more operational shortcuts. Another common one that you'll be doing over and over again is the Command equals shortcut, which switches between the edit window and the mix window. So Command equals will switch between the edit and mix window. As you'll notice over on the top left up here, we have 4 different grid modes that our Pro Tools session can be in. We actually have 5 with the sneaky relative grid mode hidden under this little drop down arrow here. So we can switch between grid and relative grid over here. We can switch between any of these grid modes by hitting the grave accent button, which is to the left of the number 1 at the top of your keyboard. I had to Google what that key was called, but it's called the grave accent button apparently. By pressing this button, we can just switch between the 4 modes quite simply. The most common modes that I use within a Pro Tools session will be either slip mode or grid mode, and we can get a little more in depth with these modes in a later video. But for now, I just wanted to show you how to switch between these modes. And then we can also use the keys F1, 2, 3, and 4 to switch between shuffle, slip, spot, and grid mode up the top. All right, now moving along to our timeline tools up the top here. We can select different tools for different jobs when working on audio in the timeline. To navigate through each of these tools, you can simply press Escape. We have the Zoom tool over on the left here, followed by the Trim tool, then the Selector tool, Grabber tool, Scrubber tool, and Pencil tool. The most common tool that I use when working in Pro Tools is actually this Smart Mode tool. This one incorporates the Trim tool, Selector tool, and Grabber tool so that when I'm holding my mouse over different sections of audio, as you can see, different tools show up. So I can trim audio, I can select audio, and I can grab a whole piece of audio. Once you get used to working with the Smart tool, it'll speed up your workflow a bunch. So I'd recommend staying in the Smart tool mode, but so you know, you can switch between any of these modes by just flicking the Escape button. You can also select F5 to F10 going along the top to select any of your tools. You can also press the F6, F7, and F8 buttons all at the same time to enable the Smart tool, and we'll leave it that way for working in Pro Tools today. Now the next shortcuts I'm going to show relate to soloing, muting, record enabling, or input monitoring a track. What we want to first have clicked is a real handy little button over here, which is Link Track and Edit Selection. That way if I click in the edit window over here, you'll see that the corresponding track lights up. You can also select our track name over here and the edit selection will follow. So jumping up to our backing track up the top that we've imported, I can do a Shift M to mute, Shift S to solo, Shift I to input monitor, and Shift R to record. Jumping down, we can select our track below, and if we wanted to record on that track, we can Shift R to record arm it, and then we can press the 3 button to start recording. After doing our little recording here, it gives us a great opportunity to do the Command Z shortcut. That's the undo shortcut, which is Command Z. We can also redo with Shift Command Z. So undo and redo. Super handy, and you'll be using those a lot when working in Pro Tools. All right, moving on, I'm going to turn off Record Enable for this track and delete that little recording that we've done there. For these next few shortcuts, you're going to want to have the A to Z little button over here highlighted. Once we have the keyboard focus button enabled, we can zoom in and out horizontally by pressing R to zoom out and T to zoom in, which is super handy. We can also move our cursor vertically by pressing P and semicolon to move up and down. So semicolon moves down and P will move the cursor up. To move our cursor left and right on the Pro Tools timeline, we can use the buttons 1 and 2 on the numpad of our keyboard. So 1 will go to the left and 2 will go to the right. As you can see, when I press 1 on my numeric keypad, it moves the playhead in Pro Tools a second to the left. When I press 2, it's moving us a second to the right. If I jump over to our bars and beats meter up the top, we can see that change happening in bars as well. So we can move a bar to the left by pressing 1, and we can move by 1 bar at a time to the right by pressing 2. Using the 1 and 2 keys on your numeric keypad is super handy in a recording session when you know, for example, that the singer would like to drop in at bar 25 in this case here. You can select it with your cursor and then press 1 twice to jump back 2 bars and give them a 2-bar count in. While we're over this side of the keyboard, another really handy shortcut is the Enter button on the numeric keypad. This will create a new memory location. So you could say, for example, if we're recording that vocal and they were maybe starting the first verse there, you could say V1 and hit OK. That'll create the new memory location for us just here on bar 25. If we wanted to, again, jump back, we can go 1, 2, and we're ready to record them on verse 1 with a 2-bar count in. Using these memory location markers on your sessions can be super handy for seeing where different sections start and stop in your song. You can also quickly jump to each marker that you put down. If we open up the memory locations window here by pressing Command 5, which can also be found in the window memory locations drop down up here. We can keep that guy open to the side, and for example, we want to jump to chorus 1. It has the ID number of marker number 2, so we can go full stop 2 full stop on the numpad, and that will jump us to chorus 1. Full stop 1 full stop will jump us to verse 1. Super handy, quick way to get around your memory location markers in Pro Tools. All right, just got a few more shortcuts to round out the video for today. If you're still watching, thank you so much. I really appreciate you checking out my content. Also, just remember to download your free PDF with my top 80 shortcuts for Pro Tools. The link will be down here in the video or in the YouTube description. Make sure to grab that one, print it out, or save it somewhere so that you can quickly access it when practicing your newly learnt shortcuts for Pro Tools. Now, our last few shortcuts include fitting our audio and tracks into view within Pro Tools. Let me just zoom out for this shortcut demonstration by hitting R a couple of times. Then I'm going to go Option A, which will zoom our audio to fit horizontally in the Pro Tools timeline there. Our next shortcut for viewing all of our tracks at once is Control, Option, Command, and Up. That will put all of our tracks into view. So Option A and Shift, Option, Command, Up will help you put your audio into view so that you can see what's going on in your Pro Tools session. That wraps it up for my top 30 beginner Pro Tools shortcuts. Thanks so much for watching this one, guys. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you learned a new shortcut or two that'll help speed up your workflow in your recording, editing, or mixing sessions. Feel free to download the PDF that I've talked about in this video. You can save the PDF somewhere quick and easy to access on your computer, or you can print it out and have it near your workstation. So next time you're working in Pro Tools, you can pick up and learn a few extra shortcuts. Feel free to let me know which was your favorite shortcut. Also, let me know if you'd like me to make a new video on a particular Pro Tools or audio topic at all. I'd love to hear from you guys. For now, thanks so much for watching. Bye.